One Teach, One Assist. Co-teachers are Kristen Clements, 3rd grade, and Missy Herberger, ECE teacher. The subject is math, and the lesson is reviewing equivalent fractions. The time for this lesson is 50 minutes, and the materials needed are Ready for the Core math workbook and a document camera. The standards for this lesson are 3.nf.a.3b, which is recognize and generate simple equivalent fractions and explain why the fractions are equivalent by using a visual model. The other standard is 3.nf.a.3d, compare two fractions with the same numerator or the same denominator by reasoning about their size. In planning, Ms. Herberger and I have been working on fractions. The day that followed this lesson, the students took the district math proficiency assessment. So we decided that the students needed a bit more review of equivalent fractions. We decided to use the One Teach, One Assist strategy for this lesson. I would primarily teach the lesson, and Ms. Herberger would assist with teaching and would also help individual students when needed. Using the workbook Ready for the Core, we will give the students numerical fractions along with a visual model. At the end of the lesson, students would complete 3 questions independently for formative assessment. Our goal was to make sure that the students could identify equivalent fractions with or without a visual model. The learning objectives for this lesson were I can identify equivalent fractions and I can create a visual model for equivalent fractions. The learning experiences for this lesson, the teacher was responsible for reviewing the definition of numerator and denominator and give examples of equivalent fractions and explain how to find an equivalent fraction. The co-teacher would assist the teacher with strategies for finding equivalent fractions and assist students when needed. The students were to complete a review on equivalent fractions in the Ready for the Core workbook and complete multiple choice questions for formative assessment.
Come on. Alright guys, 160, we have a review, and you can see there's actually not that many questions. Yes, ma'am? There's not that many questions. But if you have questions about any of them, you have to ask. Not a mind reader. So, number 1, who would like to read the directions for me? Abby, go for it.
Which fraction?
Oh, hang on, directions.
Solve the problem.
Perfect. Directions were short, right? But you learn what happens when we don't read directions. Who can read number 1 for me? Mahaya.
Which fraction shows is equivalent to 6?
What does equivalent mean? What does equivalent mean? Leslie? Very good. Equivalent means equal. So what I could say is, which fraction shown is equal to 2/6? Well, what do you think? What do you think? How is it possible?
You know what you can do? I know it's A, B, C, and D. But I want you to put up your finger for which answer you think it is. 1, 2, 3, or 4.
A,
A, B, C, D. Which one do you think it is? Show with your finger. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Do you think it's A, that's 1, 2 is B, 3 is C, 4 is D? Without talking.
Yeah, whatever you think. Don't look at a neighbor. It's what you think.
I don't know.
Guess.
I
There's
don't
no
need
hurt in guessing.
anybody to talk.
No,
This
it doesn't hurt
is the
guessing.
way that you share your answer without shouting it out.
So I see a lot of 3, which means C. I see a couple 4s, which means D. Okay, put your fingers down. I have a question for you. What do you know you can get rid of right away? What can I eliminate, Brandon?
A.
Why?
Because it's only 2 blocks.
It's only two, but that's split into halves, right? What, and 2/6 is 2 out of 6, is that half?
No.
No, so get rid of A, scratch it out. Now look. Oh, not that one. This one. It's okay, just erase, it's fine. So now look, you only have 3 choices. Okay? We have B, C, and D. Is there something else I can get rid of, Dayton? You can get rid of C. What is C? Sorry.
If you don't know that, write down what the other ones are. Write down underneath what they are. Shaded on top, total on bottom, so you can look at what the fractions are.
Numerator, denominator. Write it down. What is it? What is the first one shaded as? What, Jimmy? Uh-huh.
No, how many total? Including the colored in. That's the denominator is 8.
There you
We
go.
want to count those
We don't know what B
total.
is yet. Jimmy just told me it was 2/8 for C. What was B? Who can tell me the fraction for B? Chance? 1/4. Perfect.
Write
What?
it down, guys.
Yes, do what I'm doing. And what about D? What fraction is that, Kayla?
That fraction is 1/3.
1/3.
When I was doing fractions on study hours
Uh-huh.
a couple days back, she taught me a little trick to the fractions. You put them next to each other like this with a space in the middle, and you multiply.
Someone else showed you that trick the other day too, didn't they? So which one do you want to work on? Which one of these? We already know it wasn't A. And we know it wasn't C.
We should start with D.
We should start with D?
Looks like an idea the best.
So we want to find out if 1/3 is it equal to what?
6.
There you go, 2/6. Watch the magic. 1 times 6 is
6.
okay. 3 times 2 is
6.
6.
6 out of 3.
I don't know what I just did.
I don't know this one.
I know. Hang on. Oh, never mind. I do know what I just did. What did I just prove?
It's D because it has only 3 and 1 color, but that's alright because if there wasn't 1 color.
What did you do? What did you do to it?
Put lines in the middle and count all of them at 6.
Can I show yours on the Elmo?
That's called an Elmo. This is what I did.
It's called Elmo because it's a document camera. Not like Elmo from Sesame Street. I showed that these two are equal because Mallory taught me that. Alright guys, I want you to look up at Brandon's book. Look at what Brandon did. I want you to do that same thing. What did he do? Leslie, what did he do?
He scratched out C.
Yeah. Ignore B. He put lines in the middle. And what did that turn it into? 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2/6 equals 1/3. Not 1 whole. Don't pay attention to the craziness on the board. Yes, sir.
God gave us a message. It said D right there by that paper. He gave us the answer.
It says D by this paper and gave him the answer. That was me not erasing the D.
I know.
Questions?
If
About this problem.
you can't figure this one out, that's why we said write down the fractions. When you do equivalent fractions,
Let's not go for it.
what was A? 1/2, right?
Uh-huh.
We'll have to get to 2/6, right? I multiply 2 times 2, is it going to be 6?
No.
That's how I get the A. Now let's down here. A has to equal 2, 6. The numerator and denominator have to multiply by the same thing. What times 1 equals 2 again?
2.
2. And then I have to multiply the denominator. 4 times 2. Is 4 times 2 6?
No.
Nope. Slide over. Down here. What am I going to multiply by? What do I multiply 2 by? To get 2. 1, right? What's 1 times 8?
8.
So it's not 6, right? So give me that. Here. I gotta get 2 6, right? What do I multiply 1 by to get 2?
2.
2. So if I do that, and if I multiply 3 by 2, what do I get?
1.
If I multiply 1 times 2, if I multiply 3 times 2, what do I get?
2, 6.
I get 6. So don't I get 2 6 there?
Yes.
So really what you're trying to do with equivalent fractions, you're trying to figure out how the answers that you've got, or the choices that you've got, can equal the same thing that you're given in your problem. So we have to figure out what can we multiply our numerator and denominator by to get this fraction, if it's smaller.
After the lesson was over, Miss Harberger and I spoke about the effectiveness of the lesson. We discussed the blooper that I had, and it made me reflect upon the relationship that Miss Harberger and I have. When I made my mistake, she was able to step in, take over, give me a break, and I was able to take on the role of the co-teacher then. One of the things that worked well in this lesson was the use of the one teach, one assist for that reason. Also, having a quick formative assessment allowed me to determine whether or not the kids were ready for their district assessment the next day. After I looked at the assessment that they did after the lesson, I determined that the students were ready, and after we took the district assessment, that my students scored the highest on math that they had scored so far that year. So I was very proud of them. Areas for improvement in this lesson. In future lessons, I plan on having more of an interactive review. I have done these types of reviews in the past, things like Jeopardy, creating a Jeopardy game to review, things like using whiteboards to review. I also plan on integrating and connecting other fractions concepts while reviewing equivalencies. This would include drawing fractions as well as making visual models of fractions. Lastly, I plan on making more real-world connections. This was something that I did at the beginning of our fractions unit, but it is definitely something that I should continue throughout the fractions unit. For example, using the idea of a pizza or a pan of brownies to show fractions.